Hello all, welcome back to the discussion on transformations and actions in PySpark. So in the previous videos we saw about lazy evaluation, then we started looking about the transformations and actions, the two different kinds of operations. In the last video, I explained about the three different kinds of transformations, which are map function and then flat map. We also saw the difference between the map and the flat map. If you are new to this video, just go through the previous videos in order to understand about the transformations and the lazy evaluation. So before proceeding with the other important functions in transformations, let us try to understand the most commonly used or the basic functions in actions which are supported by Spark. Okay. So there are various actions which are commonly supported by Spark, but let us have a look at the most frequently used ones. Okay. So before proceeding with the technical definition of these actions, let us try to understand these with the help of a simple program. Okay. See, suppose I have a CSV file like this. This particular file, this is nothing but it contains the details about the airport ID, city, and which state it belongs to, the name of that particular airport. Okay. So this is a simple example in order to explain about the different actions. So I have taken up this CSV file, but in the real time you'll be having even a small data or it may be a big data as well. So whatever or however the data is, this is how you make use of the common actions. Okay. So let us try to understand more simple or commonly used actions one by one. So first of all, I'm trying to upload this particular CSV file into the PySpark. So the first two lines are the same which we saw earlier. So this is nothing but we are creating the Spark object, and if the object already exists, it will get that object. If not, it will create it. And then using the spark.read.csv, and what I'm doing is I'm importing the airports.csv. This airports.csv file is contained in the same folder as this particular function. So that's the reason I did not give any path or any location to that. But you can actually provide the actual location, or you can make it dynamic as well in your real-time application. So here I'm loading the CSV file and putting it into the data frame. Okay. Let us try to run this and see what happens. Okay. So the object is created, a Spark object is created, and using the Spark object, the airports.csv file is imported and it is put into the data frame. So this print schema, it is actually helpful for us to print the schema. Okay. So here if you see, there are four different columns without any names, and everything is identified as the string column. Okay. And if you want to infer the schema automatically by itself, then you can give it infer schema equal to true, and you can also make header equal to true. So why I'm making this header equal to true? Because I have a header in my CSV file and I do not want this particular line to be considered as a data. So this has to be taken up as a header. So airport ID, city, state and name, everything will be taken as a header. So after making that modification, let us try to run the program again. So here if you see airport ID, city, state and name. Each and every column from the CSV is considered as a separate column of the data frame, and the data type or the schema of this particular column is also identified. So it is integer. If you consider there are no other strings or characters available in this airport ID. So this has been considered as an integer and all the others are considered as strings. Okay. So the next is you have identified the schema on the column names. Uh, See, suppose if you are not, you did not have a chance to look at the Excel or the CSV file or whichever the format of the data is, you do not know how the content of the data is. Okay, so the airport ID, it can be in any format. The city or the state, it can be in any format of text. So just if you wanted to take the first row in order to understand or in order to just view the data, that you can use data frame dot first. Okay. So this is the same data frame which I have used here, and for that data frame I'm calling the first function. Okay. So here when I run it, you can visualize the first row of particular data set. So the row airport ID equal to 10165, city is Adak Island, and AK and name is Adak. Okay. See, suppose if you want to take the first n columns or first 10 columns, then you can use the function called take. So from the same data frame, I'm taking the first 10 rows, that is the top 10 rows. Okay. So here this gives me the first 10 rows of the particular data frame. Okay. See, suppose if you want to identify the total count of that data frame, so how many records are there in the data frame, then you have that action called count. So there are various other ways in which you can just understand about the data, but since we are discussing upon the actions and the transformation, I am trying to explain about the commonly used transformations and the actions. Okay. So here count is another action which gives the total count of the records in the data frame. Okay. So there are a total of about 365 records in the data frame. Okay. If you want to filter for a particular region, then we saw a transformation like filter is a transformation, and here I am applying the state as a filter and equal to ca. Okay, so df.ca equal to count, it gives count of that state which contains the term ca. Okay, I'm just running it, and there are 32 records from the state ca. Fine. So here, and next is the collect function. So what does the collect function do? So collect actually, it returns the element of the data set as an array at the driver program. Okay. So this is usually useful after a filter or other operations that returns a sufficiently small subset of data. So here I have applied a filter and created a new data frame called df underscore ca. Okay. And I'm trying to collect this, and this returns an data set. This returns the data set as an array at the driver program. Okay. So here if you see, this is written as an array. So these are the certain common actions which are supported or most frequently used. So with the understanding of these, you will be able to perform better, or you will be able to code with the sample programs. Okay. So later, if you want to save this particular data frame to a CSV file, also we have a function called to underscore CSV. So we can just make it to a pandas data frame with the help of the two pandas and two CSV, which will definitely helpful for you to store this data frame into a CSV file. So what's the reason I have given index as false? Okay, so let us see. By default, index is true. So I'm erasing it, and you can run this. Okay, an output.csv file is generated. So let us try to open it. So if you see here, there is an auto index which is generated, but I don't require that because this airport ID is actually a unique ID which helps to identify the different airports in the particular country. Okay, so I don't want that. So what will I do here? Index is equal to false. I'll map it as index equal to false. So now if you try to visualize it, there is no index. Okay. So hope you got an idea of about how the actions and the transformations function together. In the next video, let us try to understand about the other transformations which are most commonly used or which are very important. Okay. So thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day.